thank you so much for joining us. This is the Last Drop Africa podcast. My name is L.Victoria. In a rather unusual occurrence, you get to see me and the co-host Bella Twine.
Hello, my name is Bella Twine. I'm so happy to be here on the Last Drop Africa podcast, the first of the year, and I'm so excited that we're here, right, at the floating bar. Oh, finally.
I know. It's taken a while to get this guest on this podcast. It's taken, I don't know, 8 months. We've been working on this. Then enter rain, we're here at the floating bar with the proprietor himself, my main man James. Welcome to the Last Drop Africa podcast.
You're most welcome. My pleasure.
This is my almost 5th visit, but today we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the setup of this place and the man responsible for bringing it about, who is right next to me. Mr. James, why don't you start by telling these people who you are, what you do, and where we are now? What's this place?
I'm called James Kateeba. I started this establishment about 7 years ago. It's an establishment that is built out of used plastic bottles. We put them together, the ones that end up in L.Victoria. We grew this vegetation around them, and we created the space that you're seeing right now.
Just for context, those plastic bottles, how did you think about the idea? How did it come to you? Where were you when the idea came to you?
We were seated out somewhere, and I'd read some books about a similar thing that happened in the 1950s on Lake Kyoga. They were building rafts out of bamboo and papyrus, rafts that got to sail for over 3 months by fishermen. The fact that we had a problem of plastic bottles into Lake Victoria, that's why I thought I could put in a hand and design something, a boat built out of plastic bottles, because the plastics can be given a new life, and they give you the same buoyancy that the bamboo and papyrus would give.
Before you came to this idea, how did you know that this would work? Is your background in design? Do you build boats?
I've been in the industry, in the travel industry for quite some time. Some things have been designed this way before, but it was a challenge. As an artist, some of the things you try out, somehow it works out.
The last time I was here, you were telling me about the number of plastic bottles that this establishment sits on. Just for the benefit of the viewers, would you give them that?
We have collected about 12 tons of plastic bottles that we are on. We could comfortably sit about 120 guests here, in comfort and in safety.
My math is bad, but 12 tons is about how many?
12 tons, that should be over 600,000 bottles.
Damn.
Yeah.
When did you start? How did you start? Like, how many people did you need to support you? A friend group, family? How did you start?
This project was started in 2017. I used the local fishermen, to collect the bottles. I would be buying the plastic bottles from the lake, the ones that end up in Lake Victoria, with a few friends. And then we started setting it up, bit by bit. It wasn't done like at a go. Yeah, we started putting section by section together up to the size that we have here.
Being at the lake, I'm sure you've seen even more plastic going to the Lake Victoria. For context, what other things are you doing now that continued the good work that you started?
Well, when somebody comes around, they get to learn that you can also put in an effort, to the environment of the pollutants that we find all over, in not necessarily on the lake, but you could they learn that you could give plastics another way, in another life, another form, not necessarily harming the environment.
Killing the fish. So in the 7 years you've run this establishment, what would you say have been your key learnings, key achievements?
Getting to have people, meet in this peaceful environment, that I think that's the most important thing. Getting people together. The same, getting challenged to do things that we had never thought we would be doing.
The last time I was here, you would actually release this particular establishment to go on the water. Would you walk us through the engineering of that? Like, how are you able to do that? What's the science? What's the logic behind it?
Yeah, the science, we have a winch which stretches up to about, the rope on the winch stretches up to about 100 meters. We don't usually go beyond that. And then something on water is always lighter, It displaces its own weight. And then the buoyancy from the air in the plastics keeps us floating, makes it easier for you to get tethered into the middle of the lake. And then when we're done, we winch ourselves back.
Buoyancy right now.
I think for me, I would want to know, what are some of those challenges you've faced over the years, from the time you started
The challenges we have been facing were the rising water levels, where it was not possible at times to access this place because the roads had been submerged by the rising water levels. Then we also have moving islands that recently actually took down our neighbor's establishment. Yeah, basically those are the major.
Scaling, doing this elsewhere. I mean, there's plenty of plastic in the lake. And now that you know the formula.
Well, it's something very challenging. I don't know whether I would probably do it again, but maybe another person would try and recreate something similar, just to ease up on the.
That person, if you were to give him some tips on how to come up with something this amazing, what would you tell them?
I'll tell them,
when was the same crazy idea?
Once you have a dream, just follow through it. Follow through. It takes time, but things are possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to come to your place without giving you the opportunity to talk about the services that you offer, so that someone who wants to come and chill by the lake, have some sun in their face, what are they likely to get when they come to you?
We do have boat trips. We have a restaurant and a bar, and then gardens, next door, where we have bonfires for the evenings and having a quiet, relaxing space.
What kind of support would you think this kind of industry needs from probably people around, community, and probably government, if possible?
It's a very challenging thing here. We have to keep building every other day. It breaks down, like as you can see, most of these wood. We intend to keep it as natural as possible, but every 6 months we have to keep replacing wood. But in the end, I think it will take us another 7 years, and then it will grow natural. It will grow natural, and you will not need to be doing much, because eventually the vegetation takes over, and the root network supports everything.
How did you know all this?
You do research. You do research, and you get to know that things work. Some of the things you learn on the job as you go.
Two more questions for you. The first is in terms of the financial viability of putting in all this work. Is it worth it? Are you getting the returns on investment?
Well, like I told you, this is like an art piece, something that you like. You don't look at what comes out of it, as long as you keep it moving, really. So you have to keep plowing back. Yeah.
But you get just enough to sustain it.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It's on water technically, in area of safety, and what are the measures in place to ensure that we don't have one of those incidents?
We do have life jackets and a lifeguard on board at all the time. Yeah, when we're moving, we make sure everyone wears a life jacket. We also move with an extra service boat, as we're drifting away from the shore.
You said you saw this on Lake Choga, you brought it here on Lake Victoria. What are your thoughts on rolling it out, replicating this idea, copy and paste of sorts? Would you recommend for this to be taken up by anyone who cares about the lake?
Well, whatever someone can come up with, the lake is really very polluted. There's so much that drains into the lake.
I saw the color of the water when we were driving down. It's not pleasant.
So, why not?
Well, actually, let me ask you about that. The surrounding of this place has 2 breweries, a landing site. Have you seen any sort of social responsibility from these major players to try and support your work?
Well, I've personally I haven't seen much, but probably they are doing something, maybe closer to their factories. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you were to recommend an initiative that they can do, what would you tell them at the lake now?
Well, probably adding, more measures to control what is churned out into the lake, because we are losing a lot of wetlands that would be filtering whatever gets into the lake. Yeah.
I think I'll just ask how you grew your hair. It's very interesting.
I was just idle during the lockdown, and I had to let it grow.
Yeah. Nice. It looks good.
Yeah, please, pleasure. Yeah.
So other than this, how do you spend your day with your family?
Well, just right here. Unfortunately, the family is grown up, and they live by themselves. Yeah.
So this is you retired?
I believe this is my retirement. Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Most
James.
welcome.
It's
Most
been a
welcome.
pleasure having you.
Please.
So you've heard it from the man himself. These are small actions you can take up on yourself to make a contribution to cleaning the environment. The government won't come to do it for you, but wherever you are, just start, learn from the people who are doing it like this gentleman, and we'll be coming to you, get your story and sharing it with the world. This is the Last Drop Podcast, the first of the year. Hopefully not the last. Alright then, see you next time.